one of the advantages of having a hammer and hardie is that if you just have that, you can always go down to a tile store, tile merchants that supplies marble tiles, and pick up the tiles as they come, take them home, and you can start cutting them down to get them ready for your mosaic. Now, it is easier if you've got the marble in rods, or you buy the tiles and you've got a wet saw and you can cut them into rods yourself. It is an awful lot quicker, a lot easier to do it. But as I say, if you don't have that facility, you don't have that, then still with a hammer and hardie you can easily cut down tiles into your individual tesserae. It will take you longer, there is more waste in it, but once you get used to it, it's not a difficult process to go through. Now, generally speaking, marble tiles in the sort of some of the easiest formats that you'll find, there'll be sort of 10 centimeter squares, 4-inch squares, tumbled like this. A lot of the coloured marbles, if you find them, they'll generally be like this, unless you're ordering huge amounts in which you can dictate the size. But if you're going into a tile store, as I say, generally a lot you'll find like this, and this is the easier size to cut. The method that I'm going to show you, you can use with 300mm foot square tiles and do exactly the same. So let's just go through and have a look at the cutting. Right, first of all you need to get down to a manageable size with the tiles, so whether they're the foot square, the 300 by 300, or this, the 10 centimeter, the 4-inch, the cutting is exactly the same. First of all, and you might want to wear gloves if you're using the larger tiles, because the edges pieces can be quite sharp when they come off. So just good firm grip over the hardie there, and that will cut down the center, and there you see you have 4 pieces straight away from that size. Now it's very important that you don't do what I term is look for the tesserae. So if you pick up this tile and you sort of start to think, okay, well I've got a line of tesserae there, I've got a line to, don't bother doing it, you're just wasting time. There is a certain size you get down to, I'll show you, but when you're doing this part of the breaking, don't look for the tesserae, just break in half all the time. So come up to here, take that one just in half. So I'm not going to try and cut a line of tesserae, simply because it's too big and you'll just waste stone. So now I've got down to this size. If we get the pencil, and if I look at that, I can think roughly, yeah, I've got about 8 tesserae in there. So when you get down to the size where it's approximately 2 tesserae by 4 or 2 by 3, then you can start thinking in terms of cutting them into the individual tesserae. Until then, all you need to do is think about just cutting it in half. So again there, cut in half. This one just cut in half. Now you can start looking at the individual tesserae in there. So I'll pick one edge to go. Now if I've got the angle like that, I might just trim off the edge in a bit of a straight line. There. Now be quite thorough at this stage. If you can't use it as a tesserae, then either cut it or throw it, one or the other, because if you don't sort it out now, you're going to have to sort it out when you're doing your mosaic, and again that's just wasting time. So there we've got some. We got this end piece here, so I might say, well that bit's no good. Here, yes, got quite a bit of a lip on there, so I would just trim that off. That's another tesserae there. So this piece, let's take a look at a fairly irregular piece. So I'm going to take a piece off the end. There. Now let's have a look. So they're not too bad, that they can be used. On the tumbled surface, you've got this chamfer over the corner where it's rounded off. Now you can use that or turn it over. There's your square piece. You have some irregular shaped pieces, turn them into tesserae. Cut off the excess so you can use it. I'll just trim off the end there. Let's have a look here. This piece, yep, about the limit of the size that I want. This piece here, there's no point in me cutting that into two. Just cut that piece off, throw that bit, there's another tesserae left. So all the pieces that you put into your bowl should be tesserae that you can use straight away. So back to the process. Cut your tiles in half. Keep cutting them in half. Don't look for the tesserae until you're down to this sort of size where they're roughly about 2 tesserae by 4. You're going to be wasting too much time, particularly if you're cutting a lot of the big tiles. So get your tile down into halves, keep going into halves until you can start seeing the tesserae, the individual tesserae that you can cut. When you're cutting these large tiles down into individual tesserae, as a result of that cutting, you'll find you'll get a number of other shapes, and these fall into 4 categories. Now what you must aim for all the time is to just cut everything into these square tesserae, these square shaped tesserae. As a result of that cutting, you will find you'll get a number of other shapes. Don't aim for those, don't cut for those, just get everything to this if you can. But as a result, you will also find you'll get half size cuts, triangles, and keystone shaped cuts as well. If the material that you're cutting doesn't fall into one of those 4 categories, then you need to either cut the piece until it will become one of those, or you throw it. What you need to do is make sure that all the tesserae from your cutting is ready and can be used on your mosaic, because as I said earlier, if you don't sort it out now, you're going to find you're going to have to be sorting out when you're trying to do your mosaic. So aim for this, but also keep an eye out if the piece the piece that you've got isn't, say, big enough for this. Can it be cut into a half cut? Can it be used to create a triangle? Or if you shape a piece, will it just need, say, another cut to turn it into a keystone shape? So look for those 4 shapes and sort your material out ready so you can get on with your mosaic straight away.